Hello. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you may find yourself, and welcome to Rand Vibes. Here we learn, we grow, and we experience. And we continue with our review of the book, The Leader Who Had No Title by Robin Sharma. And as usual, today I start with a passage. And this passage is from page 94 of the electronic version of the book. You know, Blake, a large part of your work at that bookstore is to lift people up in a world that tears people down. You know, Blake, a large part of your work at that bookstore is to lift people up in a world that tears people down. Have you noticed how we live in a world where people are quick to tear you down rather than build you up? There are so many things that happen to us that tear us down. It can be criticism, it can be people betraying you, unexpected bad breaks, losses, betrayals, disappointments, failures in different aspects of life. Maybe that you failed at a job, you failed at a relationship, you failed at a business venture. So many reasons why we will be torn down by life, by people, by circumstances, and by events. And none of us is exempt from these things, right? And so that should tell you that anytime somebody stands in front of you, in whatever capacity, that human being standing in front of you, right next to you, sitting by your side, your co-worker at the office, any human being you have the privilege to encounter is silently carrying a burden with them. They are carrying grief, they are carrying disappointment, they are carrying shame, they are carrying the fear of not being good enough, they are carrying the burden of betrayal and disappointment and rejection. Everybody. And so that is why it is so important that we become acquainted with this principle, that we are here to be that silent majority in the world where we are specialized in tearing people down, reminding people of the things in their life that are not their best foot. We have rather specialized in reminding people of where they stink, where they failed, where they have not been good enough, where they have been rejected. And we need to be that minority that takes the other side of the coin and decide that we are going to see the best in people and be the subset of human beings that would encourage and build up rather than tear down. So you know that Blake in this book is just somebody who sells at the bookstore. But yet Robin is saying in this book that a large part of his work was to lift people up rather than tear them down. Like, what? If you are selling in a bookstore, everybody would assume that you are there to sell books, right? But this is the shocker. For every one of us, it doesn't matter your profession or your career or what you do during the day or night or whichever part of the day cycle that you call work. Whatever you do as work, a large part of it should be you lifting people up rather than tearing them down. So you may be a mathematics teacher. It's just a small part of your job that is teaching the children the fundamentals of calculus or algebra. A large part of that job is to encourage them to build the confidence that they can rock this course and pass it with flying colors and become an engineer or a physicist or a doctor or an economist or whatever else they are studying mathematics for. As a doctor, a large part of our job is not to write prescription and make diagnosis. A large part of the work we do is to give hope to those who are hurting, to give encouragement to those who feel discouraged. Many times I've had patients walk into my consulting room, and we ended up talking about everything but what they came with, because at the end of the day, their disease is not really cholera or diarrhea or pneumonia. It is about an ache inside of their heart, where life or somebody or some situation is weighing them down, and they need another human to tell them that they are enough, that this storm will pass, that this too is a phase, and one day they will wake up and the Egyptians they are seeing today, they will see no more. As a nurse, your job is not just about administering medication or whatever else nurses routinely do, but it is about we offering hope and comfort to patients who are in pain. Every kind of profession holds a higher calling that is different from what is written in your appointment letter. It is different from what is written in your certification. There is a higher calling to any kind of work that you find yourself doing today. You see, for example, if you are a receptionist, a lot of people would assume that a large part of your job, welcome people in, pick phone calls, and give people direction or whatever information they need from you. But somebody walks into your office as a receptionist, and that smile you give them, that how is your day going, that this is a beautiful dress you have on, is that one bright spark in an otherwise very difficult morning for this person. And so they walk in feeling that all of their world is coming crumbling down. And that 100-watt smile of yours, and that genuine love in your eyes as you ask them, how can I be of help to you today, will go a long way to change the flavor and texture of their day and their emotion at the time. And you know, our master is Jesus. He's our chief example. And when you look at the life of Jesus as he interacted with us when he was on earth, a large part of whatever he did was linked to lifting people up. Where somebody was being accused of adultery, everybody was ready to stone her. Jesus gave her the assurance that neither do I condemn you, and gave her hope that despite the fact that indeed she was caught in adultery, she could have forgiveness. Jesus went to places where there were people who were blind, and he restored sight to them. People who were sick of all manner of diseases, and he healed them. Everywhere that Jesus went, he lifted people up. I remember a song from Sunday school used to say, everywhere he went, he was doing good. The mighty healer, he cured the lepers. When the cripples saw him, they started walking. Everywhere he went, my Lord was doing good. You and I may not have the ability to tell the cripple to rise up and walk. We may not have that faith, but we can give a warm hug to somebody who is hurting. We can tell somebody who has lost a dear loved one or a relationship that means so much to them that today is bad but tomorrow can be better. You can tell somebody who has failed at an exam or at a business venture that indeed you have failed. Let us look again at the plan you used and see how best you can make it happen again tomorrow, because one failure does not define you. Even 2 failures, 3 failures, it doesn't matter how many times you have failed. Your failures do not define you. What defines each and every one of us is our ability to get back up one more time after we have fallen down. Hosea chapter 10, Hebrews chapter 10, verse 24 says, let us consider how we may spur one another on towards love and good deeds, encouraging one another. The writer is not saying that you should encourage people when you think about it, if it happens to cross your mind. He says consider how. So you are supposed to do it. So he's only asking you to consider how you are going to do it. You need to plan it. You need to look for opportunities to build people up. You need to become known for that person who lifts people up and encourages people. Encouragement is not an accident. It is a discipline. It is something you cultivate and it becomes a part of you. And you see, for example, in a workplace, when you are a leader, somebody who works, a subordinate might perform a very grave mistake, something you don't expect them to do because they've been taught, they've been trained for it. And it's, of course, devastating and has far-reaching consequences. So naturally, as a leader, when you come across that kind of mistake, of course, you'll be angry. Your first inkling would probably be to lash out. But in pointing out the mistake to the person who did it, the way we do it, the way you do it, is going to go a long way to determine if you are going to crush that person or lift their confidence up. Instead of telling them that you are stupid, you are good for nothing, you don't know anything, you are not good at your job, I'm going to fire you. You could choose the other approach where you encourage them and tell them that indeed this is a very grave mistake and it should not have happened. I need you to learn from this experience and make sure that this kind of mistake does not happen again. It has happened to the best of us before. You are not the first, but do not let this happen again. You are better than this. You can beat this. You can do it. And that is the hallmark of somebody who is showing better leadership. I have a challenge for you. This week, as you go through life, your routines, keep constantly asking yourself, whose life can be better today because I am in it? Whose life can be better today because they met me? It could be your spouse. It could be your child. It could be your mom, your dad. It could be your employees. It could be your boss. It could be a patient, a customer, the stranger on the street. Somebody you meet at a restaurant, somebody you are in a queue with at the bank. It could be a neighbor, it could be a church member. Because true leadership is not about how many people are working for you, but about how many people you are lifting, how many lives you are making better because you are in it. It is really measured by the number of people who rise because you are a part of their life. And people may very often forget what you did for them. They may forget your titles, they may forget the positions you held, they may forget what you had, what you built. But they will never ever forget the way you made them feel. So choose to become this awesome person who specializes in lifting others, whatever form or kind of lifting there is that you can do. Speak hope. Offer grace even when people do not deserve it. Correct people with dignity and respect. Celebrate the progress of people, no matter how small. Believe in the people that you have been privileged to have any kind of connection with. Long before they believe in their own selves, believe in them. Say it to them and act it. Show them. Because in a world that tears people down, be the reason that somebody walks a little taller. Be the reason why somebody smiles. Be the reason why somebody's smile is brighter. Be the reason that somebody dares to dream. You may never know the full impact of a kind word, a second chance, an encouraging conversation, or a podcast like this if you happen to use things like this. But somewhere in this world, there is somebody who is standing a little taller because you chose to lift them up when you could have torn them down. Somebody is standing a little taller because you chose to give them a second chance when nobody else thought you would, or when nobody else was willing to. Make this your ministry. Make this your leadership. Make this your legacy. Lifting people up rather than tearing them down. Be the reason why somebody dares to dream bigger than they had ever imagined. And believe once again that tomorrow can and will be better than today. Tomorrow can and will be better than today. That is leadership. That is ministry. And that is the heart. You may never know the full impact of a kind word, a second chance, an encouraging conversation, or a podcast like this if you happen to use things like this. But somewhere in this world, there is somebody who is standing a little taller because you chose to lift them up when you could have torn them down. Somebody is standing a little taller because you chose to give them a second chance when nobody else thought you would, or when nobody else was willing to. Make this your ministry. Make this your leadership. Make this your legacy. Lifting people up rather than tearing them